All right, good morning, everybody. It feels like a Monday, only because it's July 1st, but it's actually a Tuesday. And I'm just glad you guys are all here today. Lisa asked me a couple weeks ago if I would come on. So it was not intentional to be back-to-back days, first of all, not intentional to be back-to-back days, but that's what you get. So hopefully I didn't scare away too many people from yesterday. But I appreciate everybody hopping on. It's just a continuation a little bit from what Lisa started talking about last week. So last week, if you remember on Tuesday, she talked about mental toughness and grit. And I thought it was a really great topic. And this week, she really wanted to go into the science kind of behind that. But before we get started, quickly in the chat, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy were you with where you finished with your points from June? One being, I don't know what happened, to 10 being like, I crushed it. I love it, Danielle with a 9. Awesome. Didi only an 8, really? Fast Start Senior Gold only gets an 8? Okay.
Could have been better. Could have been better.
Love that mindset. 4, 5. All right. Yeah, today's going to be a little participatory too. So get ready to do a couple things. All right. Now, for those of you who scored anything below a 5 in the chat, what made you show up this morning? Anybody that scored below a 5, if you don't mind, in the chat, tell us why you showed up this morning. Quitters never win, baby. I love that. Love that. What else? What else we got? I'm waiting for Nicole to chime in. I think she gave a 1. I'll be honest, for myself, I gave myself about a 3. It did. It's like 3 for June. It's like had a rough April and May, kind of turned the corner a little bit in June. So it's not technically a 1, but it's still like Didi said, it could be better. But ultimately, I'm on here because, well, I feel like that's where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm calling it. I still believe where I'm going and what I'm doing. So no, those are all good comments right there. Nice. Just because I didn't get my way doesn't mean I give up or cry about it. Okay, thanks for that, Nicole. Determination, I love that. Stephanie, mine was a -4. That's all right, but guess what? You're still here. And I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of truth here right now. So there are some people that probably would have scored themselves a 1 to 5 last month that are probably, first of all, not on this call because they're truly thinking about throwing in the towel. They're not here because they're truly considering if this is for them. They're having doubts. They are having this like reflection of, am I called to do this? Is this something that is going to be with it? And some people might just be like, you know what, I didn't have a good month last month and I'm just done, just checked out, done. So they stop showing up. And that's just the honest truth. But for those of you guys that scored a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, yes, your mindset might be like, okay, last month was kind of crappy, but guess what? I'm going to continue to show up. I'm going to hear it's July 1st and I'm going to start the month really, really well. I'm going to put my best foot forward and we're going to make July count. So definitely kudos for you guys. It's easy to show up when things are going well. Like it is really easy to show up when things are going really well. It's harder to show up when things seem to be backsliding, when things seem to be going against you, when you got all these external things coming in, just hitting you left and right. But if you're able to show up when things aren't going well, or you're not feeling like the business is moving and you're on that hamster wheel, what does that tell you about yourself? What does that tell you about your mental state and your grit and your mental toughness? To me, that already tells me that you have something that a lot of people don't have. Okay, because you're battling, you're in the trenches, you're going through kind of a rough season, but yet you're continuing to show up for one reason or another. So yes, today we're going to talk a little bit about sort of the science behind mental toughness, grit, perseverance, all those things. And this is the question I wanted you guys to think about. And we already kind of touched upon it, but as we're going to be talking about this today, here's a question. What separates those who quit when it gets tough from those who rise to the top? Go ahead and put it in the chat if you have an answer to that. What separates those who quit when it gets tough from those who rise to the top?
Where's my chat?
You can just say it, Jenny. That's fine.
Sorry.
Didi, relentless pursuit. Girl, that's my business. Literally, my business name is Relentless Pursuit. Copywriting, I'm telling you, don't steal it. Momentum, I like it. What else? What is it that separates those people? Grit. Yes, that's why we're here. We're talking grit, consistency, and showing up when you don't feel like it. Nice.
I'm just
Belief.
gonna unmute because I cannot for the life of me figure out how to spell resilience this morning. So here we are.
All right, resilience. I love it. Determination, discipline, commitment. Excellent. You guys are rocking it already this morning. So what I hope to do is kind of unpack the science behind this and maybe some practical tools to help us develop it so that, because honestly, I think it's like a secret weapon that like every successful leader, especially ones in this business, is going to have. Like if you're going to be successful in this business, you got to be mentally tough. I know one time Alita showed us a graphic of her journey through Plexus, and it was like up and then down, up and then down even further than the first down. And it's like, that's so true, but you only get back to getting up if you know how to handle the valleys, right? You can only get back to the mountaintops if you know what to do in the valleys. So the science behind it all. Okay. So the definition of mental toughness is the ability to stay focused and resilient in the pursuit of long-term goals despite challenges. Okay. For myself, I always go back to sport athletes. I think about those guys that have had really great individual careers. They've been around the league 10, 15 years, but they've never been able to get that championship. They have like almost every accolade you could have on a personal level, but for some reason that championship continues to elude them. But yet they continue to show up season after season with the hope and the belief that they're going to one day win it. And it's quite a scene when you see somebody who's been around a league 15 years hoisting a championship for the first time, and you just see the raw emotion overcome them because of how long they've had to battle, how much they've had to develop this mental toughness and this focus and this resiliency and this grit to pursue these goals that they've had for so long in the league. That sometimes a lot of them thought might have come only after a year or two. I mean, how many of us entered this business with the belief that maybe we could go diamond in the first year, maybe even the first 2 years, right? And if you're not there quite yet, that's okay. That's okay. But how are you responding to it? What's your mental toughness like if you did not hit then maybe that first goal that you had? So there's a lot of people out there that have some research about mental toughness. So the neuroscience of resilience, this is some key research that they put out there right now. Stress. How many of us ever get stressed? Oh yeah, put the hands up, right? Stress is big. Stress is big in our lives. But the question, Sam's got his hand raised up there. Yes, he might be stressed out right now putting together that fishing pole. Stress can be positive or negative. I teach this a lot with my high school students, is that stress can be positive or negative. And a lot of times they're like, what do you mean? Because in their mind, stress is always negative. Stress is always that thing that causes them to get angry, get frustrated, to quit, to do all these things. And I'm like, well, stress can actually be a positive thing, because stress, if you ask, like, again, I'm going to use sports as an example. You ask the teams that were just playing in the NBA finals if they were stressed out before the start of the game, every one of them are going to tell you yes. But they use that stress in a way that actually drives their vision and their action and their focus. Stress can actually make you become so narrow-minded and so super focused on something that it actually drives you to get there and actually can be very beneficial. So the first thing we got to do is make sure that we understand that stress is not always negative. It actually can be really, really positive. And actually, when you think about the neuroscience of it all, when you pair stress with optimism, when you pair it with purpose, like that drivenness, it's like a muscle. It actually gets stronger. The more you do something, just like when you lift weights or you run or do all these things, the more you use your muscles, the stronger they get. And our brain is the exact same way. If we can train our neural pathways in certain ways that is beneficial to our mental toughness and our growth as a leader, over time, those neural pathways get stronger, and it's easier for us to make those connections. It's easier for us to be mentally tough, to show that grit, to be resilient, to bounce back when things get tough. It's the hardest the first time because we're not used to it. Our brain doesn't know what to do. But every poor month that we have, every no that we receive, every ghost that we get, it gets easier with time if we're able to respond in a positive way to that stress and continue to build that muscle inside of our brain. Okay. And over time, our brain's really awesome because our brain can rewire itself. So the more that we do it, the more that we practice these positive coping skills, the more that we be like, okay, last month was a rough month, but guess what? I'm still here. I'm showing up. I can still find the small wins in a slow month. Yes, my month was slow last month, but I got to develop a silver last night who've been working on it for a couple months. That was the win of my month. And that's okay because that's driving me to start this month on a great foot. It's that neuroplasticity where repeated practice of these kind of things can really help rewire your brain. And over time, it becomes a lot easier. Okay. Angela Duckworth said, talent counts, but effort counts twice. Effort applied over time creates mastery. Okay. Michael Jordan's famous out there for a quote that said, he has missed more shots than anybody else. He has lost almost as many games as anybody else in the league, but yet he's the greatest player of all time because of all the failures, of all the times where he missed. Because every time he missed was one step closer to his next make. Think about it in this business. Every no that we get, every time we're ghosted, is one no closer to the next yes. Okay. And we got to have that mindset in this business is that, yes, we're going to be faced with tens of thousands of no's. It's just how it's going to be. I had one guy reach out to me last night when I invited him to Alita and Megan's call. I said, hey, bud, love you, love what you do. I think you're very family oriented. I think this would be a great call for you. You got 30 minutes to spare. 2 letters. No. And I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. That's your choice, not my choice, your choice. You know, that's just kind of how it was. But that's okay. So yes, effort applied over time creates mastery. Do you guys know what stress does to the body? Anybody know? What does it raise? There's a certain thing in the body that when you're stressed out, it raises a certain level of, if you know it, put it in the chat. I know there's somebody on here that knows it. Cortisol. Yes, Michael. Gee, I knew Michael would know it. Absolutely. Yes, stress can raise cortisol. Oh my gosh. If we don't know how to manage our stress in particular, because stress again can be good, but if we don't know how to manage it, it raises cortisol, which impairs our ability to make decisions. Okay. It really just impairs our decision-making skills. And then you never know what's going to happen, right? When we develop our mental toughness and we develop those neural pathways in our brain to be resilient, to show grit, to bounce back up, that actually reduces cortisol spikes. So when you are presented with a stress, that your cortisol doesn't go out of control because your brain has developed a certain level of toughness. Okay. So 4 things, 4 pillars of grit. And I want to sort of relate these back to Plexus a little bit. So if you're looking for somebody who wants to develop your mental toughness, your grit, 4 things you need to do. 1, you got to have passion. If you're in this business and you're not passionate about these products or this opportunity, that's step 1. We got to find that passion. You got to dive into your why. You got to figure out why you're here and what's driving you to do this business. Because if you don't know, you're probably not going to continue to grow and you're not going to be able to develop that mental toughness because you're not going to have that foundation of why you're here, right? If you get hit with that no, for me, okay, I'm still here because I'm still going to provide a life for my kids that I can't because of, you know, that's my why goes well beyond the no's. I'm leaving a legacy for my kids that I can't do as an educator. I'm going to be able to leave education so I can go to my kids' field trips at the drop of a hat. That I can stay home during the summer and not have to send them to XYZ camps and pay money out the nose. That we can go hiking and biking and fishing any chance we can get to get my daughter that pony that she wants or whatever it is and serve more in my church and give more abundantly than we've ever been able to give. Like if I let the no's determine my trajectory in this business, I wouldn't still be here, right? So we have to have passion. We have to have passion about why we're here. That's the first pillar. Second one, perseverance. We talk about this all the time. We got to keep showing up. For Dee Dee this morning, it's probably the easiest thing in the world to show up. She's like, I'm on cloud 9. I just got senior gold, but you should be. I mean, you should be pretty happy. I know I was pretty stoked after I hit senior gold. But truly, perseverance, keep showing up, even when things get tough, even when orders fall through, like you've been talking to somebody. I know I see Ian on here. Ian and I talk all the time about, we have a bunch of cards out, people that are verbally committed, they're going to do the things, and then guess what? They don't order. And then you reach out to them and be like, hey, I thought you said you're going to order. And then they ghost you. Man, that's strike 2. And it's like, okay, now what? But if you want to be gritty, you got to have perseverance. I was talking to Dee Dee this morning and I asked her, I'm like, what are the couple things that you would attribute to being the success for you this past month, going Fast Start Senior Gold? And she said, being relentless, following up, and just like pursuing it and like having a drive and a sense of urgency. And I'm like, I think there's a lot into that, right? Is that perseverance. She's so gritty because she is passionate about what she does. And it doesn't matter if, you know, somebody's ghosted you, she's going to be relentless and continue to follow up and persevere until the person might award her, right? And that goes into number 3, which is resilience. So we have passion, perseverance, resilience. How you bounce back from those no's, right? Especially the ones that you feel like were right there, right on the edge of getting them in, right? Right on the edge of signing them up. Maybe they're somebody who started with the business and you thought they were going to be a dream teamer, and then all of a sudden they're like, no, never mind, and they're just gone. Like, how we bounce back from that, those slow months or where the points go backwards a little bit, that shows a lot about your ability to be mentally tough in your grit. How do you bounce back? Again, look at sports players. We had a couple of big names tear their Achilles. Achilles can be a career ender for some athletes. It really can, because it affects everything that they do, especially in basketball, everything from jumping to planting to their ability to pivot and drive. And you saw 2 all-pro players go down in the playoffs. They're on a path right now of seeing how mentally tough they are. They're on a path right now of seeing how resilient they can be, because if they don't like recuperate, if they don't do the rehab, if they don't show up every single day because they want to get back to that level, they're not going to make it. They got to be resilient. So, I mean, yes, it's a setback, but this is going to really be a test of their grit. And the last thing, so we have passion, perseverance, resilience. Last thing, consistency, right? Consistency. So it's good to show up. It's good to be resilient, bounce back from those no's. It's good to be passionate, but we got to do it consistently. One, actually for a few reasons. One, so that the people that are watching us on social or whatnot see that we're the real deal, feel that we really care and show up for what we're about, right? If you're somebody who posts like once a month or once every other week, they're going to be like, do these guys really even care about this? But if we're consistently showing up every day, if we're consistently talking to people and consistently following up, they're going to be like, man, okay, there's something to this. They're pretty legit about this. So we got to show up consistently. Plus, how good is it for your teams? If you're showing up every day, you're modeling the things that you want your team to do, which is show up consistently. I mean, quick show of hands. How many of us have ever been frustrated by team members not showing up or feeling like your team members aren't showing up? Right? Right? Question for you. Are you modeling the behavior yourself? Are you truly being the consistency? Are you doing the work that you would expect of your downline? Because if you're not, why should you hold them to the same standard? Right? You shouldn't. So we got to be consistent. We got to show up because it compounds over time. It does. Consistency absolutely compounds. Okay, last few minutes. I told you this was going to be a participatory type event. Okay, who likes doing hard things? Raise your hands. Some people are like, maybe, maybe not. Hard things are tough, right? Hard things are tough. But hard things, doing hard things builds that mental toughness muscle. Doing hard things builds that grit. Okay? So I want you guys all to think about in your head one person that you would either scares you, one person who you've been fearful to reach out to, but also that one person that, man, you would love to do business with that person. Like, man, if they just joined my team, first of all, I love that person, so I get to do work with my best friend every day, or they would just be phenomenal at this. So think of that one person. Okay. Hopefully you got that name. Accountability can be huge when you guys are doing mental toughness. Having people that are going to help you be accountable is huge. So that's what we're going to do right here. We're going to hold each other accountable. Hopefully you got that name. Hopefully, it doesn't matter, by the way, if this person has ghosted you, if this person you've talked to before and they haven't signed up yet, like wherever you are in the process, it doesn't have to be somebody new. I want you to craft a message about why you love that person and why you think they would be an absolute BA at this business and why they should do it with you of all people. Okay. And I want you to send it to them before we're off this call at 11. So that means you got to turn your camera off because you got to bring up the other window. I want you to do a hard thing right now, because guess what? If you guys do a hard thing right now, you just flex that muscle. You just flex that mental toughness muscle, which is going to get a little stronger today. So find that one person. Oh, look at that. Jenny, you did it already once. Hey, flex it again. 1 rep is nice, but let's go 2. Every time you do it, it's going to get easier. I know on that first time, like I sat there with my phone for like 20 minutes. Like, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? I have no idea what to say to this guy. He's got his own business. He's in a different MLM. He's in whatever. Like, what am I going to say to him? Don't worry about that. Tell him why you love him or her. Tell him why they should be on your team and why they should do it now. Tell them where you're going. Tell them what your goal is. And hit send. You don't control what they're going to get to say back. Know that. No matter what you say, you can't control what they say back. So don't try to make it perfect, because the perfect words, it won't matter. Okay, you can't control that. The only thing you can control is how the tone and the voice and the passion that you put into yours. Even if it's a voice message, if you'd rather drop a voice message or a video message, all good. But you're building mental toughness. Okay, mental toughness is a skill. It's not a trait. Kobe Bryant didn't wake up the Mamba. He didn't just wake up with the Mamba mentality. It was a skill that he developed over the course of his life. And every day, if you watch any sort of podcast with him or any interviews, he's constantly talking about resilience, grit, mental toughness, because he says that's what made him great. It was showing up before anybody else. It was staying later than anybody else. It was just doing the things that made him the leader that he was. Okay. This is our edge in Plexus as business leaders in this company. Grit, how we bounce back. Because a lot of people aren't going to do it. It's not comfortable. It's not fun. Right? I want to end with this little just encouragement that I found. Leaders are not born. Leaders are not born. They're forged in perseverance. Okay. Our ability to do the things, to bounce back, to be resilient, to be passionate and consistent is what counts. That'll grow you into leaders. I know a lot of time people will say, well, I'm just not a born leader like you. I'm not a born leader either. Sorry. Okay. It's something that you develop. It's something that drives you and something that you want to do. So that's what I got today. Hopefully you sent that message. Hopefully this is the start of something really, really good for you this month. Maybe that message is the thing that's going to open the floodgates for you in this July, right? Hopefully that is the case. And every day, just work on flexing that mental toughness muscle. But I hope you guys all had a good end of the June, good start to July. Let's get out there. Let's go get it.